Broads Media.
Friends, as you all know, that training camp is here, baby. It starts this week, and we've got a new sponsor for the show for this football training camp, Chris Gates Fitness and his online fitness training camp. Chris is an online fitness coach. He's been a massive football fan and spent his summers as a kid at Eagles training camp and spent his summers going to all sorts of events with the Eagles, games at the vet, and he created a fitness community designed specifically for football fans just like you and me. If you're ready to elevate your health and fitness goals and do it with a group of like-minded people looking to support and encourage each other, you have to check this out. There's seriously so much packed into this training camp. I joined and was blown away by everything you get as a member. Customized monthly workout programs will help you build muscle, burn fat, and feel more athletic. And access to live question and answers with Chris, exclusive community support, and more that will help hold you accountable and work towards your goals. Training camp members also compete in fitness challenges each month, as well as sports challenges like weekly football pick'ems in the fall, where Chris gives out free prizes like home gym equipment, supplements, free one-on-one coaching calls, and more. And if you join this week and use promo code BROADS, you will get 80% off your first month. That's just $10, so don't miss out. Visit chrisgatesfitness.com/training camp. Click the link down below in the description and start your journey today. Thank you all so much and enjoy the show. If I was going to rank my favorite series of the season in order, this is not going to be at the top of the list. Right after the All-Star break, after you get beat bad by Oakland 18-3, lose a series to the A's at your own ballpark, you start off the second half by going to Pittsburgh and having one of the most gut-punching losses of the year in Game 1. And then Game 2, the offense was non-existent. The only run you scored was on a ninth-inning solo shot by Bryce Harper when the game was essentially over. And then thank you, O'Neal Cruz, for pissing all over your leg in the seventh with a disgusting error that allowed the Phillies to pounce big time in Game 3 to avoid a sweep. I needed that bad. I needed Tyler Phillips giving me 6 scoreless bad, because if they got swept, I don't know how I would have handled things, and quite frankly, it wouldn't have been pretty. Okay, so now there's a little bit of faith that they can snag some momentum by finally winning a baseball game and heading to Minnesota with some positive light. Okay, maybe that airplane and that flight to Minnesota, there's some more chuckles in the back. All right, it's loose. Nick hits a home run the same day Joe Biden says, I don't want to deal with this anymore. You got him also almost hitting a home run earlier in the game. We'll take the double, but I thought it could have been a multi-home run game. Yeah, wow, just wow. Interesting one in regards to the entire series. Let's go back and reflect on Friday night, though. Friday night hurt bad. A 3-0 lead in the first inning is automatically gone by the second inning. Yo, Nose, I love you, dude. I do. I'm a big fan. Unacceptable. And sure, it wasn't as ugly by the end of his start compared to the beginning of his start. There was so much damage done, though. 3-0 lead, and now it's 3-3. What are we doing? Trey Turner, 2-run shot at 6-4. You add on at 7-4. Although you should have had 37 runs at the time. 37, not 7. 37. And maybe I'm not even giving them enough praise here. I mean, it probably could have been 47, 57. So why are we squandering so many chances to kill the Pirates and take their damn soul? They feel good about themselves, right? Andrew McCutchen, O'Neal Cruz, Brian Hayes, you name it. They're loving themselves. Do something about it. I want you to clock them in the nose so their eyes start to water and they drop to their damn knees instantly because they can't see. And you had a chance to do it and you failed miserably. And then here you go. Here goes the bullpen. Kerkering stunk. Hoffman didn't stink. He did really well in the eighth. Alvarado stunk. And I've been giving Alvarado some love. And I still believe in his skill set, and I do. I truly, truly do. This is Jose Alvarado, though. The bad downs and the high ups. And it sure is the gross Alvarado. But there's plenty of time to get him back on track and to get his confidence going. Hell, Sunday afternoon, not a lot of pressure. Wasn't a high leverage spot. But a scoreless inning is important to rebuild that confidence, and it only takes maybe one or two of those until we get the potential run. I'm just saying. Now, I'm not screaming for him in the ninth or him in the eighth right now, but I'm just saying I'm willing to trust the Alvarado experience over the long haul more than others. Maybe Dave Dombrowski, though, can go get an arm to help put us in a better position. I'm expecting more of the Tanner Scotts of the world than the Mason Millers of the world, the Luis Roberts of the world. He's going to play this thing safe, it seems. Maybe a Lane Thomas from Washington, a right-handed bat that you could platoon out in the outfield, and a Tanner Scott. I'm actually starting to wonder if Randy Arozarena is the move. Someone who's been struggling big time as the season looks, but as of late has been doing way better, and he just nuked the Yankees all weekend long, and he's got a winning pedigree. Is it somewhat of a risk because you're trying to rebuild a player mid-season-ish compared to just going and getting out and getting somebody who is hot right now, who's playing their best ball right now, who's dominating now? Is it less of a risk if you went and got a name that was already providing the pop that you're looking for and that juice? Maybe. We'll see, though. His pedigree in the playoffs does speak loudly, and I think he's got the culture that fits what the Phillies clubhouse is all about right now. But I digress. Here's what doesn't make sense to me about Friday night. Forget how well Stott has been at the plate, because he hasn't been well. That's the problem. He's been horrendous. But so has Jose Alvarado. And it looked to me that the idea of going to Alvarado in the ninth is Rob Thompson looking at him in the eyes and saying, I believe in you. Get the ball. I know what it was like prior to the All-Star break. You're going to be one of our top guys. You're one of our best options. Here you go. Have at it. Let's see what it's all about. Shake it off. Shake off that first half. Shake off that last couple of outings. We have faith in you. And it backfired. The reason why I think it's flawed is because he picked and chose when he wants to use that method. And Bryson Stott wasn't having a good first half. Here comes Pittsburgh. Second half, you got all week to sit on it, trying to recalibrate your mind. If the message is we believe in you to all of your players, how come game one, here's Bryson Stott sitting on his ass when the second half begins? For Edmundo Sosa, who in the ninth inning is doing whatever the hell he's trying to do, going to home, that could have changed the whole trajectory of the ninth, because then first base could have been different. You put someone on first, you attack the lineup differently. I mean, what are we doing? Even Sosa on the bases doubled up in that game. which affected the runs that weren't scored, where they could have scored way more and then not even been in that predicament. So I believe that it was flawed from Rob Thompson because he's willing to try and give Alvarado this opportunity to get the stank off of him, to get out of his funk. But with Bryson Stott, nah, we don't feel that strongly about it heading into Pittsburgh. I don't know. Something about that just rubs me the wrong way. And here's something else about that Friday night game. We were all screaming for Matt Strahm, reasonably so. And even with hindsight of seeing how Matt Strahm pitched on Saturday, 2 earned runs, 2 hits, a walk batter, and a 2-0 game that was blown open to a 4-0 game. Even with that knowledge, I still believe that Matt Strahm was the better move than what they tried to do with Hoffman in the 8th and Alvarado closing it out in the 9th. I would have used Hoffman top of the lineup. Strahm prior. I'm just saying. I still would have used Matt Strahm Friday, but he stunk Saturday. And normally, when I watch a reliever get the first nod after I want them in a game, meaning if I want them Friday, they don't go to him Friday, they go to him Saturday, and I see what version I get on Saturday, and Saturday sucked. Well, who's to say that he wouldn't have sucked in the game previously? Because with that time off, I'd have to imagine an all-star caliber reliever who's been dynamic for you all season long outside of the first start of the season against the Atlanta Braves. The first game of the season, he didn't start it, but his first appearance outside of that one, he didn't allow an earned run until the middle of June. So his first appearance back from the break probably would have been miserable no matter when it came. Because Saturday was awful. And this team's always willing to fight, right? Down 1, down 2, down 3 in the 9th inning. Who's to say they can't go on a massive inning? And maybe put up a crooked number and fight for their lives with only 3 outs to go. There's a reason why they scream 27 outs, baby. Well, you only got 24. Let's go. That's what I'd be saying if I'm Stubbs, clapping as I'm walking up and down the dugout there, spitting seeds. Got the ranch sheet. Maybe throwing in a fat lip. Throwing some Red Man in. Wrapping it up with some bubble gum, double bubble. Wrapping it up, putting some honey in the bag and shaking it. Or a little old school and just go a little Grizz wintergreen. A little Grizz mint action. Remember how cheap those kayak tins used to be? Kayak grape for 99 cents. Felt like I was chewing glass. Those were the glory days. I don't even know if those things exist anymore. Now with all the Zins and whatnot. Listen, all that stuff is irrelevant. What's relevant is your Phillies. And your Phillies did not have a good weekend. It's not time to think that they're no longer good. It's not time to say, oh no, but I'm not happy. If things go south in Minnesota, and then it's Oakland, Pittsburgh, and Minnesota, maybe I'll change my opinion based off of the way that it looks. Especially with our starters because, well, Ranger Suarez can't be hurt. If Ranger Suarez looks like his last few outings, we're in trouble. If Zach Wheeler is dealing with the back, and it is causing more pain and more problems than we are led on to believe, then there are some real issues here. I don't think Christopher Sanchez pitched bad in his start. He did not have the offense to support him. He went 5 2/3, allowed a lot of hits, but not so much a ton of damage. It was about 8 hits, but only 2 earned runs and didn't walk any. So I thought Christopher Sanchez did pretty well. We are going to be studying, though, the amount of innings along the way here because there are some guys on this staff that just don't have the experience working this much workload before. And it will cause you trouble as the season continues. To be fair, yeah, when the innings pile up for you, most likely the innings are piling up for other teams as well. So you're not the only staff that is going to have fatigue with their arms. The problem is part of this year's team and the brand is their starting pitching is gross. And they go deep into games and they're getting through 7 and they're dominating. I mean, that's why they've been so sharp. And that's not to discuss the positive direction of maybe Trey Turner or Kyle Schwarber not hitting 190 this year and the defense improving. Johan Rojas pulls a damn Matumbo out of his ass. That's right. He does a sliding grab and hits us with the finger wag. And I got to be honest, I thought that was cold. In a good way. Like, damn. All right, bro. All right. He's feeling himself out there. He made a couple of really nice grabs in the outfield. So for him to pull off that celebration, that's good stuff. What I need to see happen at the deadline, though, is I guess, and it's not what I prefer, it's what I prefer based off of the path that it seems like they're taking. Rojas and Marsh platooning center field and then going and getting your left fielder. Now, there was a report by Bob Nightingale that said the Phillies have no interest in Jazz Chisholm, which we knew. The Phillies have shied away from Tommy Pham, which I don't really want to go down that path, to be honest with you. He seems like a pain in the ass more than anything else. And the Phillies don't believe that Brent Rooker is a fit. Well, that's just disgusting to hear. What do you mean? He's like the perfect fit. What are we talking about? He's not a good fit. He's a good fit. Slap him in left field. He's a right-handed bat. He's a damn good fit. That's stupid to think that he's not. My only, not concern, but my only thought would be Dave Dombrowski wants that to be the thought around the league. Bob Nightingale also says the Phillies are keeping a close eye on Tanner Scott. Now, Kevin Cooney, who works over at The Fanatic, he doesn't break a ton of news, but he does have connections. He's been around for a while here in the Philadelphia sports scene, and we kind of crossed paths there when I left The Fanatic. He was somewhat a little bit just getting started over there. He's good people. So he's not a crazy heavy news breaker, but I'm not going to discredit the amount of people that he speaks to throughout the media and whatnot. So according to what Kevin Cooney is hearing, the Phillies' top target is a closer, and Andrew Painter and Justin Crawford are the Phillies that are untouchable. The reason I bring that up is not Bob Nightingale, but Jim Bowden was the one that announced Aiden Miller is the next Phillies' best prospect since Mike Schmidt. And if now we're hearing that Painter and Crawford are untouchable and maybe Aiden Miller is getting danced out there and wiggled and waggled out there for everybody, sort of like you're putting a little bit of a bait on the hook. Well, of course they're going out and trying to trade the guy that they told the media to announce was the best prospect since Mike Schmidt. So I'm putting that together with the idea of this Brent Rooker possibly not believing that he fits this team. I don't know. Maybe, I find it hard to believe that a bat like that doesn't tickle Dave Dombrowski underneath the cajones. You know what I'm saying? I mean, seriously, Dave Dombrowski's a super sharp mind, so let's not be silly here. Hey, JT Realmuto came back. Don't forget about that. That's nice to see him out there. Getting JT's bat back. That was good stuff. He said his body feels great. And that is very important for the backstretch here. All right, I want you to listen to Jose Alvarado in the clubhouse after Friday's game. This is what he had to say about his effort and sort of, just the recent stretch that he's been on.
Yeah, because again, as I said, it's not how you start, it's how you finish, and I've always had in my mind that it's about how we finish things, and I'm just going through a rough time right now, but I'll keep working, I'll keep giving the best of myself, and we'll see at the end of the year how that works out for me.
Listen, I just feel I've been through the Jose Alvarado experience long enough now to understand what it is. So I do think it's time to take a step back from him in late game situations, but to act as if he's not a serviceable pitcher or we can't get him back on track, that I'm not willing to die on that hill, that I'm out on Jose, he's incompetent, he's not able to, X, Y, and Z. No, he's just in one right now. When he gets out of one, though, he's a scary machine. And while we're almost to August, and yes, we are creeping ourselves into the back half of the season, and before you know it, it'll be September. Hell, we got Eagles training camp coming up here. So, yes, we are definitely moving quickly. There still is plenty of appearances and plenty of opportunities for him to sort of figure it out. And let's say you pick up a reliever, which I expect them to do. One day, or maybe not one day, that makes it seem like we're in the future. Put yourself maybe 3 weeks back, 4 weeks back. If you envisioned a world where Jose Alvarado was an 8th inning guy, a 7th inning guy, a 9th inning guy, however it broke down in your head, and you mixed and matched with Hoffman, depending on the other team's lineup, okay. Pretend Dave Dombrowski gets someone really good for the pen at the deadline, and you insert him into the back. And now you have Strom, whoever it is that you trade, and Hoffman. So there's 3 key arms for you. I'm not the biggest fan of Kerkering. I think some fans blow up the height more than what he is. I see a skill set. There's a difference between seeing a skill set and saying this kid's ready to have the moment. There were fans ready to pretty much place him into the closer role early in the season when we were still trying to figure things out. He's nowhere even close to that level of confidence for me. He's a relief pitcher. He's a decent arm. Big difference between a decent arm and the guy. I don't feel it the way others feel it. My point is with Jose, though, is maybe it's not what we thought 3 weeks ago, a month and a half ago, on exactly what his role is in the postseason. But let's not diminish a role if he becomes serviceable and a 6th inning guy. What if your starter goes 5? All right, let's say Aaron Nola is battling in a game. He goes 5 innings, throws 93 pitches, so it wasn't very efficient, but only holds the other team to, not only, he holds the other team to 1 run. So 5 innings, 1 run from your starter, a lot of pitches, but you go to your pen. In a playoff game, Jose gets the 6th, Strom gets the 7th, someone new gets the 8th, Hoffman 9th. Well, that 6th inning is super damn important. And Jose Alvarado, it's not out of the question that he can get serviceable again, where maybe it's not the Swiss Army knife, let me find the lefty pocket deep in the ball game, but it's a 6th inning or it's a 7th inning. And you got to get yourself to Hoffman and whoever. So that's all. That's all my point is. I believe in him to some degree. Might not be what I expected it. But that's why it's important to watch him get a scoreless inning late in this series. All right. With that, why don't we go to the phones and start things off with Amadeo?
Okay, since you're recapping this entire series, I know the instant reaction is going to be met, but this is my instant reaction from salvaging the series. You had to salvage the series. That was number one. Phillips on the mound today was great. He was great, and that was a tough situation to put a very young pitcher in. You know, going into a series, you need to salvage. You need to win the final game because you can't get swept by the Pittsburgh Pirates, and he did his job. and the offense stepped up for him. You know, early on they only scored 2 runs. They had some chances, but they managed to tack on those insurance runs, and the bullpen definitely had a better, you know, day at the office today. You know, salvage the series, find a way to get some confidence back. Hopefully the outing that Alvarado had today finds his way to get some confidence back, because he's been very, 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 very shaky, you know, put it lightly, for Alvarado there. They just desperately needed this one. They desperately needed this win. We needed just to feel good after this one game, and it also helps you that the Braves also lost the series to the St. Louis Cardinals. So,
not only that, they got a big-time injury from Ozzie Albies, and that sucks. I never want to see anybody get injured, but it is part of this game. And one of their best players and one of their star second basemen, I mean, he goes down, and the last I saw was it doesn't look good. So you never know once they start to get actual evidence or they go get MRIs, or he was over at second base. There was a ball thrown to him, and the way that his wrist snapped back on his way to apply the tag and to try and get the base runner, that happened. I saw the replay a couple times from a couple of different slow motion, so we'll see what the update is there. But losing a key piece like that, we went through that. We went through where every single game it felt something else was happening. Trey comes back, but you lose Kyle, you lose Bryce, you lose JT, you're losing it. Ranger is hurt, Sanchez this, that, here's there, it's like non-stop. So, you know, the Braves, to a different degree, but to some level, we're dealing with that too, with Spencer Strider and Ronald Acuna Jr. Now it's Ozzie Albies. So it's a big one for them. I don't know exactly where this is going to take them, just in regards to how long the injury lasts. It just doesn't look good the day of. That's the last that I saw. You're right, though, and you mentioned it a few times. Salvaging the series is very important, and it definitely changes the tone for me today. If I was to record on Friday or Saturday night, I would have lost my damn marbles. And today, recording on a day where they lose the series, but at least look good with Tyler Phillips cursing at himself as he's walking off the diamond, making sure he skips over the chalk, right? He does a little step over the chalk. Motherfucker, piece of shit, motherfucker. I love it. It fires me up, man. This Tyler Phillips story is no joke, and he's serious. I'm about it, baby. I'm all about 6 scoreless. You kidding? You joking? I do got to give the Phillies a ton of credit here. That 5th starter spot, it's been weird. But who they've plugged in outside of Mercado? Pretty good. Pretty good. I mean, Spencer Turnbull's ERA prior to Taijuan Walker coming back was filthy. Taijuan, veteran though, can eat innings. I guess we're going back to that. And now Tyler Phillips. It could be worse. You could keep throwing in name after name after name and get the Mercado experience time and time and time again. So it could be worse. Taiwan's not even as bad as some of the Mercado experiences, to be fair. So I'm just saying, the options have actually been pleasantly surprising. Even though it seems it's a walking carousel. Is that it? I don't know. Let's go to Malcolm.
Way to go, Tyler Phillips. Thank you for that excellent display of pitching today in Pittsburgh, giving the Phillies not only a win in this series, but also keeping a lid on my emotions that I was feeling after those first 2 losses. And I tell you what, bros, it reminds me of the beginning of the year when the Phillies dropped that 2 out of 3 to Atlanta. And then I think they went 2-2 against Cincinnati. And it had me saying things like, I'm not going to watch them during the year. I'm just going to wait to the playoffs. But then, lo and behold, they turn out and end up having the best record in baseball heading into the All-Star break. And I was getting that kind of low feeling, negative feeling in me after coming out of the All-Star break and them losing those first two. But this win here, hey, I'm just going to settle in. I'm just going to watch this team because they're a good team. They're a damn good team. And I'm just going to go along for the ride.
Hey, listen, that's fair. I like it, and I think you bring up an excellent point that I didn't really get to, and that's the fact that we've seen this team do something similar. You're very right. You're right on the money, and maybe there's something to be said about, well, I don't know. Maybe I'm debunking myself as I'm talking through this here, but my point was going to be Atlanta and Cincinnati was right when the season started. So they're not feeling themselves yet. They're out of rhythm. They're not in sync. Once they found their groove, they'd be okay. And they were. Maybe something similar is happening here with the break. They're out of their rhythm. They're not in sync. Once they get in sync again, they will be dominant and start to become one of the best teams in all of baseball. The reason why I was debunking myself is, well, that A series was prior to break. Maybe everyone thinking about spending time with their family. It's the final game right before break. Similar to in the NBA when you're playing 3 and 4 nights and it's the last game on a West Coast swing. You're thinking about flying back, getting on the plane, getting home to Philly, relaxing with your family. We've been out west for 6-7 days now. I want to get back. So am I making excuses? I don't know. Potentially. I've just seen sports a lot, and sometimes teams do seem to get out of their normal flow of things when it is the final series before a break or the first series after a break. Maybe there's something to it. Something similar to that first start against Atlanta, that second series against Cincinnati that wasn't pleasurable and they weren't themselves. Maybe there's a reason why they weren't themselves, and we should give them that room and that leash to prove it to us because their 670 win percentage or so screams that they deserve an opportunity to prove themselves. Yeah, I guess that's fair. I guess we can go with that. I don't mind that. I don't mind that at all. All right, let's take Sean's call, and then we'll wrap things up.
Much needed stop the bleeding win for the Phillies today. And tip of the cap to Tyler Phillips. He was the MVP by far today. They needed that kind of outing. I honestly thought Rob could have let him pitch another inning. I'm a little tired of the way Rob maneuvers this bullpen, but that's another story for another day. Let's dwell on the positives. Big win for the kid, big win for the team. And the icing on the cake is that Atlanta lost too, so you pick up a game on them in the standings. Tough series ahead of you in Minnesota against an unfamiliar opponent in their stadium. We don't know what Suarez and Wheeler coming off the injured list are going to give us. The offense still isn't clicking on all cylinders by any means, but you got a big win today.
To be fair, I don't think that the offense was tragic in this final game. They definitely weren't tragic in that first game. Probably could have scored more, but when you score 7 runs, I feel you should be able to win that baseball game. So it was just that second game that really stung when you were basically shut out until Bryce delivered the bomb and said, all right, at least there won't be a goose egg on the scoreboard for whatever that's worth. And then he gets another extra base hit, and there was a stat getting thrown around that whenever it's a milestone for him, whether it's his X amount of home run makes sense, but his extra amount of RBI, his X amount of extra base hit, his X amount of whatever it is, it's always a home run. The guy just delivers when the moment's bright, essentially, is what it comes down to. So he's just ridiculous. But yeah, I don't think look, O'Neal Cruz has a mistake, and what ends up happening? Your top of your lineup makes them pay, whether it's Turner, whether it's Bryce, whether it's Bohm. So a 2-0 lead goes to a 5-0 lead, and I don't think their offense was bad. I don't think you used bad. You just said isn't clicking on all cylinders, and okay, maybe they're not. They just had a bad Saturday. Anyway, all right, everybody, those are my thoughts. Thank you all so much for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you all on the next one.